Hey guys, this is Mel, and I'm back to talk about Arrow for one last time, as it is for episode 810 titled Fadeout, which premiered Tuesday, January 28th, 2020 on the CW. And it is the series finale, the end of an era, the end that of the start of it all, I guess you could say. I can stop talking before I do some ridiculous other names. But I am recording the same night that it aired. It is 10:17 p.m. right now. Like, literally, I am still chocked full of emotions. They did, well, I'll get right into it about that as well. But huge spoiler alert, if you haven't seen the finale, please go do so first, because I'm definitely going to spoil it, and I really don't want you to, because I was shocked for a lot of things, and I like that. I actually like the fact that I didn't go fully in depth to try to find spoilers for this episode. I tried to stay away from the promotional photos. I did maybe sneak peek for like a few, so I knew a few, but I didn't know about every one that was returning, so I'm glad that I didn't. So please refrain from spoilers until you actually go see the episode, and then come back and see what they say about it. Thank you. Otherwise, video reminders are up on screen, so take a moment to remind yourselves of those. I will try to do this in 20 minutes. I hope, because it's the finale and I go over it, you'll give me leeway. But chances are, if you've seen any of my videos, I tend to always go over. And if you watch the end, you gave me leeway, so thank you so much. But let's start this clock, and let's get right into what happened in this finale. So, again, it is the series finale for Arrow. Yeah, I'm still a little blown away by it, for sure. Beforehand, though, they did have a 1 hour featurette, kind of hitting the bullseye, where it's pretty much a bunch of interviews from the cast and from the creators, pretty much talking about the whole 8 years that Arrow has brought everybody on this journey for. And it does, like, ramp you up for the finale. I will say there are a few moments I knew for certain I was, like, geared up and ready to see again, and they definitely did follow through. So we'll talk a little bit more about that. But let's get into timelines very quickly, because as you know, okay, it actually says specifically in this episode from Diggle that our characters are currently a month after Crisis, and or after the world was recreated after Crisis. So we also found out that crime has pretty much disappeared in Star City thanks to Oliver's recreation of the world. But for Mia, who's coming from 2040, and she's the only one taken out of time to come to this funeral, she is brought to 2020 by Sarah, and she makes a comment about saying a few weeks ago something happened, and she doesn't say explicitly, but us as the viewers see the flashback of the last scene shown at 8:09, which is Mia getting hit with the tranquilizer dart, and then adult William getting hit as well, and then being taken away. So for Mia, it's been a few weeks since that's happened. We don't know if adult William was saved or not. I'm assuming so. She's not fully in grief mode, but at least that gives us an idea of where Mia is at. So she's the one that knows the furthest information at this point. Also, because of that, since we did watch 8:09, the Dinah we meet, I'm getting under the impression, and I will bring it up in questions, but the Dinah that we see in this episode and the Laurel that we see in the episode don't seem to be aware of what they ended up doing in 8:09 when they traveled to 2040. So it's a little awkward there, though, because in the backdoor pilot, Dinah said specifically that after she left Star City shortly after Oliver's funeral, she found herself in 2040 for some reason, with no record of her or the Black Canary anywhere. Now, that kind of contradicts with right now, where she still had her job post-crisis. She was still part of the SCPD. She was still the Black Canary and everything. It's just, for some reason, something must have happened when she left the city to have that whole erasing thing happen. So that's a little timeline thing there. But let's get into episode reminders. The fact that it's the series finale, the fact that you see a lot of familiar faces, like, really, pretty much, if this wasn't a series finale, I would have thought this was like a major milestone episode, like a 100th episode thing or a 200 episode thing, because of so much fan service and returns. It was crazy. So that is something to think about for sure. But let's get right into the episode breakdowns of the storylines. Essentially, it all revolves around one thing that is kind of with Oliver, but I did pinpoint the three. First one being the revenge kidnapping, if you will. So that's one there. The second one, I'm going to say flashbacks because they do tie into the kidnapping storyline in the present day. Well, one major one does. And then the third one I'll say is goodbye to Oliver. So with the first storyline, we got we find out that young William was kidnapped from Central City. And Team Arrow pretty much calls in everybody to help them out because not only is it because it's one of their own, but because of what Oliver sacrificed for them, it's at least for any of them to do is to help find his son. So they all pitch in to do that. It's like the biggest team up ever. It kind of rivals like any of the massive showdowns that the crossovers do. So that's a little scope-wise there. Flashback-wise, though, the first very quick one we get at the very beginning of the episode takes place in 2014, where we see how Moira is still alive, and it's pretty much I'm wondering, here's the thing I'm also wondering about, because it starts off as the exact same scene that we got in season 2 when Moira originally dies. I'm wondering when they shot season 2 if they shot that scene in 2 different scenarios, if they shot it where she initially dies or if they shot it where Oliver breaks free and kind of stops her death. Because if they did do that, then that was some impressive planning. But if not, then I'm wondering if all 4 of them had to go back and reshoot that scene just to do it, or I have to go watch back the episode again. The episode number will be up on screen to see if like it was just edited differently so that it looked like Oliver broke free and then, or it was too. Did he break free after Moira was killed the original time around? And he just happened to do it sooner this time? I can't remember. It's season 2. It's been 6 years. But that was a flashback there. And then they go specifically into a flashback in 2012. So essentially in the timeline of season 1, where it was still just only Oliver and Diggle. And this is kind of showing where Oliver's trying to push for him to be in the field with Oliver. Oliver's still more like they kill all the people on the list type of thing. But it's with the case of John Byrne, who ends up being the kidnapper of William in the present day. But this is the case where Oliver does not kill Byrne, who is on the list, and he ends up taking the whole bring them to justice through the court system way. Like, that's the first case that he ends up doing it on. I can't remember if that was like an actual one from season 1, like an actual list that we featured on season 1, and we just got a different perspective or different like missing scenes added to it. But it definitely, I was kind of wondering why. At first, I was wondering if they were going to show different like flashback moments for each of the characters with Oliver as a way to bring him back while he's still technically dead. But then to find out that it was actually connected to William's kidnapping was quite a surprise there. But I should have figured, since the tendency from the very beginning format of Arrow was to have the flashback somehow connected to the present day. So that's something there. But yeah, so there's that. And then when it came to Oliver's goodbye to Oliver, we do see that in the form of interviews being done for the memorial documentary that we first got to see be just an expose at documentary for episode 150. So we got to see more interviews that way. We do see a vigil taking place at the reveal of the Green Arrow statue in honor of Oliver. And then we do also get the Queen Estate gathering, kind of like post funeral burial, where we find out that there wasn't a body, but they buried a casket full of Oliver's mementos. So there's that. And it was a massive gathering, a bunch of people there to see Oliver off, essentially. So there's that. So last moments of the episode show Star City 2040, where we get the Monitor taking Felicity to reunite with Oliver. So initially, we pretty much get the exact same last scene that we got in episode 722. And then they tagged on the additional scene of what was after the portal. So Felicity walking into Queen Consolidated head office, it being Robert's office, and then finally being reunited with Oliver in that. And he revealed that she was kind of wondering, like, why would you pick this office as your afterlife? And he said, I wanted it to be the place where I first saw you. She thinks it's the ID department, but then they show a flashback of when Oliver truly set his eyes on Felicity for the first time, when he was still in his purgatory days, those 5 years that he was missing. I think it was season 3 is when they showed that flashback, because I think it was it still part of the Hong Kong bit? I think it was. So that was something there. And they ended it with the two of them together. So there's that. Tidbits, let's move on to that. First off, so many familiar faces for sure. And I'm going to list them in whatever little tidbit we find out about them through it all. First one, Felicity Smoke. She is back. First off, we found out that she has a nanny to take care of Mia, essentially because she's like really torn with the grief from Oliver's death. So that's something there. It doesn't seem like William is with her as he's still in Central City. So that's something there. Also, that also leads to the fact that we do see young William returning and finding out that his home is still in Central City. So there's that. We do see the return of Moira Queen, who survived Slade's attack. We do get the return of Roy Harper, who now has a cybernetic metal arm as his right arm. He also does the tattoo, the Mark of 4 tattoo for all the Team Arrow members. So there's that. And I'm also doing it in order of appearance, or what I remember in appearance. But anyways, we do get Thea Queen's return. We also get her accepting Roy's marriage proposal, him explaining to her why he left as abruptly as he did, because he gained new perspective in how he wanted to spend the rest of his life with her. She says yes. We get the return of Curtis Holt. We also get the return of Roy Reagan, aka Ragman. Find out that after he was able to reestablish the powers of the Rags, he decided to continue on being a hero, not only for his father but for Oliver, to keep his legacy alive. So there's that. We also do see Marcia Pedowitz. Many might not know her name. I didn't know it until it showed up on screen, but she was the documentary, pretty much the interviewer from the documentary, the one who was following Oliver around in episode 150. She was back to get all the post-crisis interviews. So there's that. We do see the return of Mayor Quentin Lance. He's about to end his term as mayor, and he's thinking of nominating Renee to take his place. So that is something there. We do also see Emiko at the funeral. She officially meets Thea and is welcomed to visit by Moira. So she's accepted into the family. It also looks like Emiko was very well dressed. So at least she's not like in the slums like we originally saw her. So that's about all we know about her. We get Tommy Merlin returning. We find out that not only is everyone is pretty weirded out over the fact that in another reality they were dead. So Tommy makes a comment about that. He also made a comment about the fact that he was married to his Laurel, so Laurel of Earth 1, when he meets Laurel of Earth 2. So he's kind of a little weirded out by that. We also do see the return of Barry Allen, aka The Flash, as well as Kara Danvers, aka Supergirl. So that is something there. They're able to quickly come in, make their appearance with Felicity, and then stay for Diggle's massive speech. We do see the return of Talia al Ghul and Nissa al Ghul, the two sisters from the League of Assassins. So that was funny there, because I'm pretty sure that they were at each other's throats, but they were civil enough to share an umbrella together. And yeah, I'll talk about that in a moment. And then we do also get the return of Anatoly as well. Thankfully, I was afraid that they weren't gonna include him, but we got Anatoly back. So that's something there. Another thing that was touched upon about that Laurel too brought up with Quentin Lance was the fact that she was questioning how all these people were brought back, how Moira, how Tommy, and how Lance were all brought back, but then she was stumped over the fact that Laurel of Earth 1 wasn't resurrected. And she was trying to figure out why, and she was kind of already blaming herself that the fact that her own existence is the reason why Quentin Lance's daughter wasn't with them. But he kind of puts it to rest. It's like, no, you have just as much of a right to be here as she does, and that there was nothing wrong with Laurel to feel like she she has less worth than Laura 1. You know what I mean? So we do get a moment of there. And as you know from Batwoman, Batwoman and Supergirl have both explored, well, they're the only ones that really had episodes post-crisis, and they both feature doppelgangers. But it's only on Batwoman that we see that there are consequences to having two doppelgangers residing on the same Earth. We've seen doppelgangers on Supergirl, but they haven't stayed long enough to see an actual longing effect. We also don't know if it's because we've seen those doppelgangers be in the form of the aliens or like non-human beings. So the only doppelganger we've seen that has two versions of them on the same Earth is on Batwoman, and we've seen that there is a consequence for two people, two of the same person coexisting at the same time. So maybe that's the reason why we didn't get Laura 1 and Laura 2, and maybe Oliver knew that in some way, shape, or form. But that was talked about there as well. What else was talked about that they brought up? Fuck, I'm blanking, and I didn't write it because I just had a like epiphany moment type of thing with it. Damn, I hope it comes back to me. But anyways, so there's that. But post-funeral, we find out that the Diggle family is planning to move to Metropolis because Lila got a job there. So maybe if... Think of it now. If Superman and Lois get that new show and it's set in Metropolis, do you think we'll get the Diggle family over there? Like, I want to see some little appearances. I hope we see Spartan teaming up with Superman himself. Also, we do see Diggle get his encounter with the Green Lantern, possibly getting the Lantern ring. So maybe instead of being Spartan on Superman and Lois, he ends up being the Green Lantern, as it's been teased so many times. Could you see that? Oh, I can't wait. That would be so great to like tie things together. Okay, anyways, we also do see Dinah leaving the city, but then we don't know if this is the moment where she ends up in 2040, like she claims had happened to her in the backdoor pilot in 809. So there's that. And also we do see Renee getting settled in as mayor from the looks of it. So that's something there. I definitely still cannot remember what I was going to say. But let's move on to most shocking moment of the episode. I think for me is just how many people were saved from Oliver when he recreated the world. And I wasn't expecting to see every single one of them. They were mentioned in dialogue, so I thought, okay, maybe that's the extent I'm going to get about knowing who's alive and who's not. But to actually see it, like when I first saw Tommy in like well, I'll talk about it now in my top 3 favorite moments, and that was the familiar faces and all the different people I got to see. So, okay, I already knew about Felicity. Everybody knew Felicity was already coming back. That was no question. I already saw Thea. I already saw the big bunker photo that showed Thea, Roy, Rory, and Curtis being back with Felicity, all when they're trying to, like, find a way to get William back. I already knew about those. And then I already knew about the photo of Moira and Emiko being back, which was a surprise because they're both dead, and I was trying to figure out, well, how the hell are they back? So I thought maybe it might be the reworking of the worlds thing. And then I saw photos of Barry with Felicity and Mia, so I already knew Barry was going to be making an appearance as well. But I was completely shocked when Kara showed up shortly after Barry, and I'm like, yes, thank you. I'm glad she appeared as well because there was a huge impact between the two of them. So it's like, I'm all for that. And then also we got Talia and Nissa Al Ghul, which were a complete shock. And I was like, I was not expecting this at all. The only time we last saw Nissa on Arrow was during the flashback of Mia's training montage. So to see her back again, plus also she's the actress is currently on Hawaii Five-0, which I'm watching, and she's great on that. But just to see her come back and play that role again was just a shock. But then to see her interacting with her sister, because I'm pretty sure they're butting heads with each other. They've always been at odds with each other. But to see them sit, like I mentioned before, being civil while sharing an umbrella together. And then just Talia commenting on the fact that she was giving Nissa her condolences over the loss of her husband, which is technically Oliver because of the league wedding. And then Nissa was like, he was hardly my husband. It's like there was no love lost type of thing, or it's like saying it's like it wasn't a marriage that I considered something like being like that, and then having Sarah interrupt and then being introduced, and then introducing Sarah to Talia as being Nissa's beloved. It was just like, it was something like I wasn't expecting it, but it's just like a thing, and I was just like, yes, I love it. So that was something there. Also, just Tommy being there, it was a shock as well. You first see a glimpse of him during like the vigil, and I was like, he was not in the front row, so he was like behind Moira in that setup. So when I saw him, I was like second guessing, like, wait a minute, is that Tommy? Did Tommy survive? And then to get the complete confirmation that he was alive was when it cuts, or when it pans during the Queen estate, and we see going from Moira, Thea, and Emiko, we pan over to Tommy talking to Laurel of Earth 2, or Laurel 2, or, right? And then, like, getting that confirmation is, like, I was shocked that we got Tommy. It looks like that Malcolm Merlyn didn't survive either, so, like, thank you for that. But it was just, like, wow. Like, I was so glad that they got him as well, too. And then to find out that he's actually alive in this recreated, like, on the one hand, it sucks that to see all these people be alive because of Oliver, and he can't be there with them. That is what sucks. But, like, just to see all these familiar faces, and then in Anatoly too, I didn't expect, I hoped he'd be there, but, like, I didn't expect it, and then, like, I'm glad that he was there, so it's just, like, yes, thank you. So it's just, like, it was amazing, for sure. I love seeing all the familiar faces and just being like, hey, they're here. It's like, oh my god, I can't, like, it just keeps amping up further and further and further. So that's something there. Okay, another favorite, I just had to say it, was Oliver and Felicity reuniting in his afterlife. And either, I don't know if they were able to have it because he's the Spectre, or if it's because, like, or if it's just insinuating that everybody who dies can get reunited in the afterlife. I'm assuming it's because Oliver is a Spectre, because Felicity specifically needed a portal from the Monitor to get there. But then, like, I'm also confused now that, like, the Monitor still exists post-Crisis. Is that what I'm supposed to... Is that correct? I didn't even realize that just now. But anyways, when Oliver and Felicity, when they showed her scene with the Monitor getting ready to go through the portal, my heart started racing. I'm like, yes, this is it. I've been waiting a year for this moment to get this answer as to what's behind the portal. And my speculations were correct. She was going to reunite with Oliver. I mean, I kind of hoped that he was alive on another Earth, but to find out that she was still able to go be with Oliver was good enough for me. And just to have their reaction to each other and having them in a scene together, it was just like I started crying. I started welling up. I'm not ashamed to say that, because I love these two so much. Felicity has been through such a journey, and it's just so many ups and downs, and the timer went off when I didn't even realize it. Yeah. I'm like a minute and 10 into the timer, and yeah, so there's that. But, like, just to see them in that moment and then to find out that they're in the afterlife where they have forever together, and I was just like, yes, I could see why Stephen Amell said that it would be a happy ending for Oliver, because, like, that's truly what it is for him. But now I'm stuck with the question of, like, if the Monitor was still able to take 2040 Felicity to see him afterwards, does that mean the Monitor survived Crisis, or Oliver created the universe with the Monitor still alive afterwards? Is that what I'm supposed to think happened? I don't know. I'm confused. Because then also that 2040 Felicity is part of pre-Crisis Felicity, right? I'm so confused now. Damn, I was on an emotional high right now with Oliver and Felicity, and now I'm just completely confused. Oh well, we'll figure that out. And the last favorite I did have was that Mia got to have some time with Felicity during the whole Queen Estate Memorial thing, and how she was able to share that, like, yeah, I met my father, I got to learn from him, I got to know him, type of thing. And then also just to see Mia have a little bit of time with a young William. Now I'm wondering if the backdoor pilot gets, like, made. I wonder if adult William will remember meeting his sister when he was a kid. Like, meeting as an adult version of his sister when he was a kid. Like, you know, like the whole memory, like, thing. Like, I can't wait to know if that happens. And if it does, maybe that's his way of knowing, like, the secret that she's the Green Arrow and such, right? So that's something there. But it was just great to see her have these two different moments with her family memories. So that is something there. All right, quick sidebar before we go into my peeve moments is something I completely forgot during the original recording. Is that one thing that was my favorite in this episode, as well as something I will miss overall, is the fight scenes that Arrow gives us. Because in all the other DC related shows, there are going to be special effects. The Flash, you got metahumans. With Supergirl, you got aliens. With Legend of Tomorrow, you got the fact you're time traveling with all this high-tech technology. So, of course, there's going to be some more special effects, which is understandable. But with Arrow, from the very start, the whole core of its team is basically human. The only exception being the Canaries. So it always impressed me with Arrow was that the fight scenes were just so high quality, such high caliber, and it's just like so intense, yet it felt like I was watching a movie. So I would definitely miss that overall from Arrow now that it's ending. But I really love that they did the callback, like a majority of our heavy fight scene in this episode, in the finale, was in the flashback when we got to see season 1 Oliver really like going head to head with all these guys. And I gotta hand it to you, that was probably the moment to truly remind us just how badass Oliver Queen is, because this is a man who started off as a one-man team and he could hold his own. He took out so many of his adversaries in that fight sequence, and it was all by himself. He didn't have backup. He didn't have anybody else to worry about. Granted, he was more brutal in the fact that he was in that kill first mode instead of trying to save lives and just incapacitate them, which makes sense. But what I would always love, and mine is the whole morality thing behind it, whether that he should be killing anybody or anything. But what I truly liked in that sequence was the fact that it truly reminded us how skilled Oliver is. And in fact, at the very beginning, he could very well and truly do this alone. He was capable of doing this mission alone. It's only as he grew that he realized that he doesn't have to. He doesn't have to bear the burden by himself. He could get more done if he had a team to follow him and to stand by him. But I do love the fact that we had to call back to season 1 Oliver out of all the Olivers we could have gotten, just to show that this is a man who was truly capable of doing this by himself, yet he chose along the way to not do it alone. He grew and started to accept people, to trust people, and ultimately led him to becoming the man that he ultimately ended his life with. So it's just like, I just truly love that in that moment, despite the fact that he was in the kill first kind of mode mindset, I did love that it was, again, a reminder of just how skilled he is and why he is the legend of all legends, essentially. And I just wanted to talk about that before, because I don't think me typing it up on the screen as a forgotten moment would truly encapsulate just how much I enjoyed what that sequence showed us, as well as something I am going to miss now that it's being gone from the Arrowverse itself. So I'll leave it at that, and let's just hopefully it edits properly, but let's just kick right into the peeves of the episode. So yeah, bye. Now moving on to top 3 peeved moments. I hate that I'm going to say this, because the finale was good for what it was, a finale. When you have to tie up a bunch of things and give everyone an ending and that is deserving of them. But I know that they didn't have enough time, and I don't know how they would have added it in. But I think I'm a little peeved that while we got a flashback to explain how Moira survived her death, I'm a little peeved that we didn't get one for Tommy or for Emiko to explain how they survived in this new world. That's the only thing there. I think that if we didn't see how Moira survived, like that flashback, I don't think it would have bothered me as much. Well, maybe it probably would have, because then that would be one of my random questions to find out, well, how did she actually survive? Did those events even happen the same way? Stuff like that. But I think I would have liked to have a flashback for Tommy and Emiko for how they survived, now that I know that they are alive. So that is something there. Also, I just realized that another surprising thing was the fact that post-crisis Roy still had his arm cut off in the events of pre-crisis, right? I thought maybe that might have been fixed, but yeah. Anyways, at least it was pretty cool that we got to see him with a metal arm. And I'm pretty sure that was part of the comics as well too. I don't know. But anyways, let's move on to another peeve. And I know that's probably wouldn't be done just production-wise and cost and everything, But I wish that there were more characters from the other shows to appear for that final ceremony at Oliver's grave. But I understand why they would only have Barry and Kara, not only because of the emotional connection they had to Oliver, but just logically, it made sense why, with the two of them having super speed, it made sense how they could just speed away from their respective cities to come for this moment and then speed right on back. Then again, Central City has no excuse because they have the breaches that they can easily use to come and go. And then, well, National City has the time ship where they can easily do that as well. So it's just like, I know it would have cost a lot more to have a lot more cast members on, and it would kind of be too overwhelming. But at the same time, it's like, this is a character who's touched so many lives of these heroes. I would have wanted them all to show their respects and be present in this moment. So it's just one of those things. I probably know I would have, if it was a fan fiction, I know for sure I would have written it with everybody appearing just to like pay their respects and stuff. So that's something there. But moving on to random questions very quickly. I pretty much covered it before when talking about like the backdoor pilot. But when Mia was talking to Dinah in the bunker, and she mentioned like that something happened a few weeks ago, and we see as the audience that it was William's kidnapping at the very end of 809. But I am wondering if the Dinah she was talking to is like completely unaware of what they ended up doing in 809, or if it's like some time jumpy thing, or if like it is a Dinah from 809 and then she was just brought back, or like what happened there. Like, that's a little weird. Again, time travel trips me out, but I'm pretty sure that's like the only question that I could have that really would. Again, that would probably only the only reason that would make sense, the only reason why I would stress about it is if the backdoor pilot actually becomes a spin-off series. If it doesn't become a series, then like I don't really care about this question, because it doesn't really, I can go to fanfiction and make my own theory behind it, you know? So that's just a random question there. Otherwise, guys, that is pretty much it. So what did you guys think of the series finale? What did you guys like about it? What do you think will happen next in the Arrowverse itself? Or what did you think you would have liked to see in this finale or for the final moments? Please let me know in the comments down below. Love to hear your thoughts, theories, and opinions about all that good stuff. Also, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and check out my other videos if you haven't done so already. If you want, check out my Tumblr page. The link for that is down below. I reblog promos, web clips, quotes, gifs, synopses, news, all the good stuff, all found in one place. Go check that out. A little behind, but work in progress for sure. So, yeah. But yeah, I'm still sad. Like, it's a weird mix. I'm sad the show is over, but then at the same time, I'm happy by what I got in the finale. I mean, there's a lot of things I wish could have been added, but I know you got a limited budget. But then at the same time, it's like, I wish Oliver didn't die, pretty much, you know? But again, the finale ended the exact same way the Vampire Diaries finale ended. Series finale ended with the whole afterlife sequence. So there is that. I'm just wondering now, though, if by the end of it, if Oliver and Felicity and their little afterlife, I'm thinking it's like the Speed Force Spectre afterlife thingy. Are they ever going to see all their loved ones who die after them? Will they ever be reunited that way, or do they have to go through a special portal to go see them? I don't know. But yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. So thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for your patience. Thank you so much if you followed my Arrow videos for the last few years. It's truly been a ride. It's definitely been a roller coaster of probably throughout the seasons. Probably if I were about to go back and watch my videos, I could probably tell how I felt just based off of, it'll be weird for sure though. But thank you so much for coming along on my journey, on this journey with me of reacting to Arrow. It's definitely changed things. It definitely got me into superheroes. It got me loving the genre in this cinematic format. So yeah, I hope you guys stick around for my Flash or my Legends of Tomorrow recaps, or any of the crossovers that they might do in the future. Who knows? But otherwise, guys, thank you so much. And this is Mel for the last time for an Arrow video. Wishing you all a great day, a great week wherever you are. Take care and be safe. Bye for now.